You are now listening to Talk Your Jits podcast.
Welcome back to the Talk Your Jits podcast. This podcast is, as the name implies, all about jiu-jitsu. I'm your host, Lamar Smith, and today's guest is a four-stripe purple belt who trains at Gracie Barra, Vancouver, located in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, Caleb Shearer.
Hi, Lamar. Thanks for having me.
Oh man, the pleasure is all mine, sir. How are you doing today?
Good day. It's a good day. Yeah. I'm a little sick. I meant to be training, but I figured I'd spare my partners today, passing on whatever I have.
Gotcha. Well, man, even though you're sick, man, I do appreciate you sitting down and talking to me. It's something about jujitsu, man. No matter what, we'll fight through it, right?
Right on. Exactly. That's what it's all about. Showing up.
Right. Well, without further ado, man, go ahead and introduce yourself again if you would like, and let's hear about your jujitsu journey.
Yeah, man. I mean, maybe you can help me with some questions, but
Yeah.
yeah, I started jujitsu a long time ago, really. And it's just, I guess you probably heard a lot on the show. It's just really changed my life. Um, you know, my life has been about sort of a journey from this kind of rough childhood where I experienced a lot of things that influenced my view of the world, and in that view of the world, I got a lot of wrong ideas about life,
Mm-hmm.
and I got a lot of wrong ideas about what people are all about, and what belonging, what community is all about. And jujitsu's been my path back to that. So it's about jujitsu, but it's also about um, all of the things that when I really bore deep down into what jujitsu is about, they're mirrored everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And jujitsu isn't just something that I do on the mats, right?
Right.
That's where I practice, but really it's off the mats. That's where it really, jujitsu really has played an influence in my life. And when I learned that distinction, it just changed everything for me. I've been trying to pass that on to my students and, you know, my people I work with professionally as well.
Definitely, man. Jiu-jitsu has definitely been a game changer in my life, man. It's a lot of things. I talk about that a lot in the podcast about how just if I wasn't training jiu-jitsu, I don't know what exactly I'll be doing right now if I will still be here. So I definitely definitely agree with that strongly, man. For sure, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
So when was it for you? Like when it finally like clicked, like with jiu-jitsu and corresponding with your everyday life.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, looking back at it, my jujitsu is always like a perfect mirror for my trauma, so to speak. Like my
Mm-hmm.
relationship to jujitsu from the very start was like that. Like, I found this thing that when I got on the mats just for the first time, I loved it, and I felt at home, and I was like, I've been looking for this my whole life, and I knew it was something I wanted to get good at. And never belts didn't. I wasn't like I'm going to get my black belt. It was like I'm going to get really good at this. That's what I want. And
Mm-hmm.
from there my journey really started. And uh and um it was like, so I had this desire to get really good at this thing, but I found that I had fear even in like showing up for it.
Mm-hmm.
So the thought of showing up for training, um what might happen, part of it was physical injury, but not very much. Most of it was about my ego, and about my ego not wanting to get like damaged, and the fear that I projected onto what jujitsu was, made it really hard for me to show up.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a perfect mirror for my life, right? It was a
Mm-hmm.
perfect mirror for my life, right? So through my development in jujitsu, I learned to, like, show up for class consistently, eventually show up for the warm up. Like more and more and more, stay the whole hour after for the real class where you roll with your professor. And just slowly, 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 I built up like tolerance to it. And really, it's like it's so cliche, but the whole battle in jiu-jitsu is never with my opponent, man. It's always, always, always with myself. And that happens like that's a constant battle, right? And I try and wage that all the time. And jujitsu is when I step back on those mats of jujitsu, it's the way that I can express it in the moment, right? It's like, okay, so this giant guy is trying to crush me, or this super flexible guy, I can't pass his guard, and he keeps triangling me. What does it mean? Am I going to push through the discomfort, and am I gonna lose my cool and forget I'm doing jujitsu and just try and force my way through, or am I gonna maintain my breath, and I'm gonna maintain my posture, and I'm gonna apply my principles of jujitsu where I'm gonna deal with the situation appropriately by applying the right tools to it instead of just going into my instinct and fighting, right? And that's what jujitsu really, I think that's really what it's done for me off the mats, right?
Definitely, man. I can, personally say with jujitsu, it requires you to think so much to the point where only thing you can think about is jujitsu. Then it's somehow evolved into thinking about jujitsu with everything else in life.
Right?
Like
I know.
everything is a role to me now. Like no matter what the problem is, I treat it as a role. I look
Right?
at what my opponent's doing, what I'm doing, what I'm doing wrong, what I can make them do wrong, and yeah, man, it's it's so crazy how you don't like you when you don't realize how much jujitsu has influenced your outside life until you really sit down and think about it.
Yeah, that's
So
right. And talk about it.
right, and talk about it because it's an everyday thing for me now. Expect starting this podcast. I talk to people every day. I do two.
Congratulations on your stripe, by the way.
Ah,
First
thank you.
stripe on your brown belt, right?
First straight up on my brown belt. Yes.
Congratulations, man.
Yes. And that's another thing. Like, the community is so like warming. And you see someone get a promotion and everybody's so happy for you. Never
Yeah,
met you a day in your life, but we're like excited for you. So
totally. Totally. Yeah.
because like the one of the last guests, he's starting his own school, so we're doing video now. So I was like, hey, you want to show a tour of the school? So he showed it around, and I'm excited more than him because I'm like, I don't know you, but I'm excited that you're opening a school.
Right.
So
How awesome is that?
I like, how
Yeah.
awesome is that, right? Yeah.
What a dream.
So yeah, it's definitely a dream of mine too to eventually open a school, but that's a little bit down the line. And just
Yeah.
focusing on getting
uh,
better, right?
Right. Me
So
too.
so is this your school, or are you just trained at Gracie Barra?
No, no, it's my professor's school.
Okay.
I train there with him. And then I have my own program that I run. It's a trauma informed jiu-jitsu program. So I really break down. My background's in social work, and I got my master's in social work, and I've been really interested in addiction treatment and trauma treatment. Um, for my own reasons, right? Like addiction was sort of my escape from real life until I found something much more satisfying. Um, and uh, and so when I was doing my master's and I was studying this stuff, I really started looking into what is trauma and like how does
Mm-hmm.
it express itself. And like it's not the only way. I'm not trying to say that jujitsu is going to save you, but I'm saying that jujitsu can save you. And that's what I'm trying to pass on to people. So less I've basically abandoned, I don't really do that much counseling anymore. I don't
Mm-hmm.
do I do jujitsu now because that's the quickest way to approach people and like change their lives.
Definitely.
Straight up. Yeah, yeah. So I train at Gracie Baja, but it's also like um I really deeply believe in the idea of jujitsu for everyone. Like, no
Mm-hmm.
matter who you are, jujitsu will benefit you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, can you hang with the black belts? Most people no, never will, but that's not what it's all about. Um, but yeah, man. Anyway, I
Right.
feel like I went off
Gotcha.
on a tangent there. Sorry.
Oh no, no, you're good. You're good. But I always, scream to like the to the top of my lungs that jujitsu is therapy.
It
Jujitsu
is.
is my therapy. And I go to a therapist, and I don't know, it's just something about the difference. Like, okay, yeah, I can sit here and talk about my problems or whatever, but it's just for some odd reason when I step on the mats and not think about my problems for 2.5 hours, everything else does not. I don't even care about nothing anymore.
Right.
It's like I don't care anymore.
Totally, totally. And it's like, they're saying now that we know now for a fact that trauma is a thing. So basically, what happens is somebody's traumatized in the past, something bad happens, and some people that creates trauma, and that trauma is like a memory stamp,
Hmm.
and you carry it with you into the present moment. So if you have PTSD, what you're doing is you're really in every moment you're reliving like a traumatic incident. So your muscles are tight, your organs are working faster or harder than they should. You're in a stress response all the time. And
Hmm.
then when actual stresses happen in life, people freak out, right? Because they just can't endure it. They don't even know that they're under stress.
Hmm.
So if there's one thing jujitsu does, it puts you under stress, and it teaches you how to deal with it. So,
Oh yeah.
um, so suddenly we're not these helpless kids anymore in this trauma sense. We're like capable adults defending ourselves from, a dangerous, focused opponent.
Hmm.
So it gets you right into the moment, and it allows you to express, like, to work through this trauma that is actually like a memory stored in the body. So we can literally release it through mindful jujitsu, and we can control it. And, like, really, I've seen people just gain their life back in ways that are remarkable, and consistently, if they can
Hmm.
apply these principles.
Yeah, and it's amazing to hear the success stories that jujitsu has had on people. That was kind of one of my main reasons for starting this podcast, is because I always think about, like, man, how stressed out, life can get, how, just dealing with just everyday life. But, you know, the time I'm on these mats is like, it's just a big sigh of relief for me, and I just be wondering, like, I know I can't be the only one that feel this way.
Mm-mm.
I'm like, I can't be the only one that feels this way about jujitsu, because it's too many people doing it every single day to not
But
have
how
this
crazy
feeling.
how crazy is that, though, that happens? Like, because really what we're doing is, we're like, I don't know where you train, but we're bleeding on each other. Like, my partner's sweat gets in my mouth. Like
Yeah.
like like I leave with like blood and scrapes on my face, and I love it, man. But it's pretty counterintuitive that this happens, right? Like, what's up with
Right.
that?
Yeah, I've got bled on, sweat, spit, just it
Yeah,
happens, but we're so comfortable with it.
yeah, right. That
it's,
seems to be part
it's
of the magic. It's like, we trained hard doing coming up to a competition with my team once, and um, I realized there's a bunch of, like, everybody's like training hard, everybody's like ripped, like just these like muscular, manly dudes trying to kill each other, and we're all basically lying in like a cuddle puddle together, right? Like, at the end of training, not even
hmm
thinking anything about it, right? And that kind of contact, man, that kind of like intimacy, you don't find that everywhere, where we're that intimate with each other, and, like, in a it like, I think it pulls out something like almost tribal in us, right?
Yeah,
There's no sense
most
of inclusion
definitely.
like it.
Yeah, most definitely. Because even down to the relationships that you develop with your teammates, you instantly become family with these people.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like my one of I always talk about this guy, Brian. He's like one of my best friends and training partner, and he's like, he's close like blood to me now. And my wife asked we were just talking one day, and she's like, okay, she's like, you have contact with a lot of friends that you grew up with, right? I said, yeah. And she says, what different does that friendship make versus the friendship that you have with Brian or the other guys at your gym? And I'm like, for one, I see them more, the guys I train with, and we literally try to kill each other every single day. But at the same time, that's our therapy. So it's like, we go out there, we're stressed out, we end up rolling, and next thing you know, we're having an hour conversation after class, 2 hour
Yeah.
conversation after class. And then you just guys just become like, like this. And you get to
Yeah.
see like every stage of emotions with these people. So
Yep.
it's like you
And
can't
vulnerability, right?
Yeah,
Like
that
it's like,
vulnerability. Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Like, and it's like you can't help but become good friends, or become like brothers, or siblings to each other. In that time span.
Yeah, because when you think about it, it's like totally, man. It's like every tap, and if you're training hard, you're tapping. In my opinion, like and every tap is really it's like it's an acknowledgement you could have killed me, but you
Yeah,
didn't.
you
But
didn't.
you didn't. So thank you. I'll do the same for you, and that seems to breed like a lot of trust, right?
Man, what? I know, right? It's like I trust you enough. If I tap you, you will let me go, and I'll do
Yeah,
the
yeah.
same, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that we can control ourselves enough. I in my program at work, I see a lot of guys come in that just no idea. There's oh man, there's a meme out there that says something about why the average male thinks to win a street fight, and it's like 1% is you're a trained fighter, and the other 99% is like, dude, you don't understand how badass I am. When I see red, bodies hit the floor. So I
Yeah.
see guys like this. I see guys like this all the time, like because they've got this huge ego they got to protect, and you get them on the mats and they crumble, man. But from that crumbling, they just grow, right? If they can keep coming back, like they grow, they drop the attitude, they I think it, and I went through this as well, where I thought that I needed to act tough to get respect,
Mm-hmm.
and it's pretty embarrassing now, right? But back at I really believed in it, in like cred, and that I had to like like project this persona to be respected, and
Uh-huh.
jujitsu, like no, no, not at all. Like Ryan Hall or somebody like that, like the chillest, most dangerous guys in the world do jujitsu, right?
Right.
So I see this crumbling in people, and it's another way, like we don't have to be macho with each other, right? Like we know exactly where we stand. We
Mm-hmm.
all know exactly where we stand with each other. You can't fake anything in jujitsu. Like whatever you are, it's out there.
Yeah, like jujitsu does not lie. It's
It does not
it
lie.
keeps you it keeps you honest, it keeps you humble. it definitely keeps you in your place.
Right? And thank God for that. I need that, man.
Yeah, for sure. Cause I don't bash any other martial art. Everyone has their love for their reason. But only places I saw like this tranquil feeling was when I was doing MMA
Yeah.
and when I really got into jujitsu. Because I'm thinking to myself like, dude, we go in these padded rooms, right? And we're throwing, we're punching, we're kicking, we're throwing, we're choking, and we're bending each other's bodies in ways it's not supposed to bend. But that's when we're the happiest. It's like legal murder almost. It's like, I can go in, I can choke someone almost to unconscious, and then all right, see you tomorrow.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Cause we
try that at the office.
yeah, no, right. I can kind of try that because my boss is my instructor, so I can kind of get away with it.
You actually can. Yeah, me too. Actually, me too. Everybody where I work now is training now too, right?
So I can actually almost get away with that, right?
Yeah. That's how you know you got the job you want, right?
I know, right? Because he actually makes these jokes about it. He's like, dude, what else? He said, where else can you go where you can choke a cop or a prosecutor or this type of person, that type of person? And they're laughing the whole time while you're doing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, you got a
That's
point. You got a
satisfying,
point.
man.
I was like, you got a point, man. But
Yeah.
no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Who do you train with? Who's tougher in your experience, firefighters or cops? You train
I
with
haven't
both
had
of
any
them?
firefighters yet. Haven't trained with
Okay.
any firefighters, but the few cops that we've trained with, and I love this guy. He's a big guy, very very strong, but he's like he doesn't know his own strength type of strong. So I was like, I
I
understand
know a guy
completely, but I'm like, tone it down a little bit, my brother, just a
Yeah,
little bit.
yeah. Oh, whoa. I know that's the most dangerous person on the mat is that testosterone filled white belt man. The guy that just wants to win, right?
I know, right? But he was he's a purple belt. And
Oh,
so it would be
that's
it'd be days
cool.
where we'll be training together, and we was going over just a hip toss. He's always struggled with takedowns. So we're working one day, and he's like, I just can't seem to blah blah blah. And I was like, okay, when you step, turn all the way around, put your back to my chest, and then lift. He was like, okay. And he's just going through it. And when he finally took that full step and went, I blinked and I was upside down, hitting the mats. And I'm like, he went all in, just straight all in. I'm just laying there like I didn't get a chance to break fall. I bounced off the mats. I'm just sitting here just curled up. And I'm like, he's like, you all right? I'm like, yeah, just give me a minute.
You guys are in Detroit, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What's the scene like? Is there a lot of jujitsu there?
Mm, as far as I can see, there's not that many schools. Um, I know we have a few that's in down. We have like one that's in like downtown Detroit. We have a couple in Southfield. Our school's in Oak Park. There's like a sprinkle in like St. Clair Shores that I know of. One in Southfield. No, I'm sorry, not Southfield, but where is that? Where's this one school? It escapes my mind, but there's a lot of like more MMA schools, but not like strictly jujitsu schools around. So
Are there competition scene and stuff? I mean, I probably like here
oh yeah.
IBJJ and
Yeah, we got
local comp.
IBJJF, Grappling Industries, Naga comes here. So
Yeah.
there's probably one or two a month that I know of. If they, obviously if I mean if it's not local, but yeah, about one or two a month I see. That's not like either here in Detroit or like in the surrounding areas.
Right on. So when teams are winning, do you notice anything like what makes teams win in competitions? What do you think?
I don't know,
Is it
cause I try to like when I do go to tournaments, there's a lot of like I guess you want to say local people, so I really don't like. There's nobody really to like quote unquote follow. But no, I don't really know. I don't really look at that like, oh, why what makes this team win more or whatever. I just go
Yeah,
do it to have fun.
yeah, me too. I love it. So fun.
So you compete so you compete.
I haven't competed in years, but yeah, when I was younger, I did. I'd be masters like 18 or something now. So I don't know. One of those, they just they go, we all like lean on each other and call it jujitsu.
We're gonna start sitting. We're gonna everyone start sitting. I know, right?
Yeah, totally. It's like you decide before who's gonna pull guard. Like,
A
so
quick
yeah,
little rock paper scissors match, and then see who who starts in the
totally,
who starts in the advanced position, right?
totally. funny because at the start of jiu-jitsu was all about like who was the most athletic, who was who was winning the tournaments, but now it's just like who's left, right? Like all of us we've gotten pretty good at jiu-jitsu by now, right?
Yeah,
So yeah,
that's
yeah,
what Chris Harder said. It's not about who's the best, who's the one who's lasts the longest.
that's it, right?
That's
And
it.
then it's like
And
these skills develop, and yeah, yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah.
been fun, man. It's been very, very fun. So what's been like
Yeah.
I guess best part about jujitsu for you? I haven't asked someone this question, but what's been the best part about jujitsu for you?
Um, Yeah, I mean, man, it's just everything, right? It's changed everything for me, so it's hard to pinpoint one thing. But I guess if you had to say it, it would be the community, right? It would
Mm-hmm.
be like that's the thing that I guess really matters, and that's like when I think about, the um, I've been training a long time, and it's not I don't remember really who won any matches or who won any competitions. I don't, but I do remember like my team and the memories that we built, and like that, when somebody's in the community is having a hard time financially, we'll have a seminar for them. That's the stuff I remember. So
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to say definitely the community. Yeah, yeah,
Definitely. I couldn't agree with more, man. Cause yeah, that's the stuff that that's the best part about it. Like you can have all the medals and have all the trophies and celebrity status, man. I want the memories that I've experienced with the people I've trained with, the people that I've met and whatnot. Like, don't get me wrong, I love rolling. I would
me
roll
too.
all day and all day, but this, like the talking to people, has been the best part.
Yeah, man. So it'd be that, the community, and then probably half guard after that.
Yeah.
I love half guard, man.
Um,
I
and
just think
I
everybody should play half guard all the time.
And it's funny. I'm one of those people who started to love playing half guard,
So good.
and it's so
Yeah.
dangerous because I know a lot of guys at our school are fairly large. We're smash style Joe, we're under Joe Moera, so a lot of smash style jujitsu, and I'm like, why? But yeah, I find it so fun. But I'm like, why? Like, why are we trying
Yeah.
to play half guard? But
When my coach told me like the more time you spend on the bottom, the less time you spend on the bottom.
hmm
You know what I mean? Like because
yeah,
you can get out. So that was my mantra. And but yeah, you don't want to be under a massive guy pulling half guard for sure.
no, no, no. Because it was what this is yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. I was just sitting around. And I messaged one of the guys from the gym. I was like, "Hey, you wanna go roll?" He was like, "Yeah, all right." So we go to the gym and roll for a couple hours. He's a big guy, and he's one of our blue belts, and he's progressed so much in these last couple months because he just started to wake up for him too. So he's been like kicking it up, and we were rolling, and I'm like, let's play half. Let's just play around with half. And I'm getting smashed, but I'm like, come on, man. Let's why are we doing this? And then next I'm playing deep half. I'm like, no, don't start doing this. Don't start doing this. Like
Yeah.
I'm like walk away. Like I'm already like trying to play leg locks, which I really haven't done. But I want to start doing like more no gi competitions. So that's kind of like one of the big things I need to pay attention to. But deep half or half guard is like another thing that I'm playing with. I'm like, this is the wrong place to try it at, but this is all I
Yeah, yeah,
got.
yeah. Yeah, right. That's just sometimes all you got. And there's an answer for everything. It's just like it's a lot of work if the guy's big. So yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I
big
love that.
guys who are wrestlers and MMA
Oh,
fighters. So it's
yeah.
like, yep. I haven't tried it on them just yet. I'm still working the bugs out, but I will eventually see what happens.
What kind of guard do you prefer?
Um, I kind of like playing close.
Yeah.
close guard, because it I kind of like to play that close guard to try to set up like my scissor sweep, or play the grapevine to a hip bump sweep. But I gotta be careful because I'm short. I'm like 5'9", so it's like we got wide guys, we got tall guys, and their legs are like half of me. So I
Yeah.
gotta learn something, man.
Lucas Leche, did you ever get into him? He's got that amazing. I think they're calling it the coyote guard, but where you get in there and you shift their angle of their knee instead of like trying to attack the muscle. He's fantastic. He changed my half guard a lot, man. I
And you
love
said,
that
what's his
stuff.
name?
Lucas Leche. He trains out of oh man, it's been a while.
I
Somewhere in
will.
California, but a
What?
Brazilian guy, and he always competes in a lower, or he likes to compete in a lower weight class or a heavier weight class than he is. So he likes to go against bigger guys, and he plays half guard against them. So he's got a pretty good system to deal with a lot of those problems.
And what's his name? One more time.
Lucas Leche, I think it's Leite.
With the power of the internet. I found him.
Yeah,
So homework tonight.
there you go, Coyote Guard. Yeah, it changed your life.
Yeah, definitely homework, man. No, so so when it comes to like you training, and I was reading, like you say you're trauma informed BJJ coach. Um, I know you kind of touched on it a little bit, but let's kind of like dive deeper into that. Like, what was kind of like your approach to how you go by, like teaching, or helping the people that you help?
Yeah, so slowly, right? So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of it is just based on the assumption. You got to start with the assumption that for some people, even just being touched physically can set a flashback off, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the I said earlier I love the idea of jujitsu for everyone, and I kind of see what I do as an extension of that. So um, I try and make it so that people can get as slowly immersed in the experience of the physicality of jujitsu um, as they can, so that they maintain their relationship with it. So
Mm-hmm.
the first thing is just making sure that people feel safe, making sure all the rules and limitations are understood. So what is jujitsu? Where does it come from? Why is it the best martial art? Like, why are you going to spend your time doing jujitsu instead of Krav
Mm-hmm.
Maga, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then there's an important piece on what is trauma, and then whatever it is, it's going to show up for us on the mats. So there's only really four ways we can react, right? So there's a
Mm-hmm.
fight, flight, freeze, and fawn.
Mm-hmm.
So you know chances are that no matter who you are, but especially if you've identified yourself as somebody who has a background that's been traumatized or traumatizing, um, you can really learn about your responses to life through your responses to jujitsu. So, so the first thing is just building mindfulness and awareness of the body and your sensations in the body. So it always comes back to posture and breath. So the first thing that we get people really aware of their posture and breath, um, breathing deeply instead of from, I don't know about you, but most people, probably a brown belt, you're better. You're good now, but I don't know, when you remember when you started, everybody just holds their breath all the time, right? So we can learn to control that. And then in learning to control our breath, um, we conserve energy. And what trauma does on the outside world, outside of jujitsu, is the same thing. Like, we hold our breath. Um, the musculature in our core becomes tight. We fold in on ourselves, um, and the first thing that we need to do is jujitsu off the mats is straighten our posture, straighten our back,
Mm-hmm.
breathe deeply, get oxygen flowing to our brain and to our body, and that puts us in the present moment. So I guess the first thing is just making people realize really the extent of how far we are from the present moment in an awareness of our breath and our posture. So it looks a lot like those old where you see the spiritual master of martial arts living on the top, and he has um, like Pai Mai or whatever from Kill Bill.
Master
Um,
Pai Mei, yeah.
Pai Mei, there you go, yeah, and there's this like hidden knowledge within martial arts. Like I think this mindfulness is it, and it just happens to be the cure for trauma. So, or the cure, the an antidote for trauma,
Mm-hmm.
mindfulness. So that's the first thing is establishing mindfulness, and then realizing what we do when we're under pressure, right? So you the everybody will learn a technique, an escape and an attack from each position. So what happens when you're under pressure? Are you holding your breath? Are you maintaining your posture? Or in this struggle, are you forgetting yourself and going back to your old ways, which would be, you know, bodies hit the floor, man, and just like flailing and thrashing around and not trying to survive in an intelligent way.
Mm-hmm.
So jujitsu is really mindfulness, and it gives us the ability to take a traumatic response, which is fear. So fear is an easy one to, or fight is an easy one to see on the mats with a new person. They'll come in and the ego's big and things get rough and they can't control themselves. And two guys, have you seen that where two
Oh
guys
yeah.
actually? Yeah, yeah. So in my program, we look at that as a trauma response. So
Mm-hmm.
it's bringing something from the past that's not appropriate to the present, even though our physiology, even though we're having this reaction of like fighting, right? But in reality, jujitsu would tell us, well, I'm not going to give anybody any resistance to their aggression. I'm going to go with it. I'm gonna not fight. I'm going to move out of their way, um, instead of instead of lashing out, instead of acting angrily. I'm going to control my breath. I'm going to control my body. And I'm going to remember that whatever it is that I see as a threat right now, it isn't.
Right.
And I think with jujitsu, you see a lot of people like coming into a real sense of control in their life. So people who have had early childhood trauma, who don't feel like their body's theirs, who had an adult abuse them in some way, really gain sense of control back and really be able to like walk around in their life in a new way.
Mm-hmm. For sure, man.
So we're trying to get people from that state of like I'm afraid, I can't do it, to oh okay, this isn't what I thought it was, to joining a club, to competing, right? That's how I know that like it's really worked is when my patients or whatever, my athletes, trauma informed athletes come and they compete and then they win.
Mm. That has to be a good feeling.
Man,
That has to be a very warm feeling.
yeah, man, it's powerful.
Yeah, because there's been a few times where we've had seminars, like a women's self defense seminar. We done it for like older women, like teens that's coming fresh out of high school. So we've talked to like different age groups, and I even talked to a couple people like in the streets about it, and the first thing they think about when they see or hear it is the positioning, because in jujitsu it's you're in compromising positions.
Yeah,
So that's the one thing that's always a touchy thing, because it's like you want them to react, like relax. It's like you want them to, but you don't know how to like exactly tell someone. It's like, yeah, relax, let this person between your legs that you never met before. But
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
yeah. So it's a mind game. It's like, from the first time you step on the mats to, that's like you're having this fight with yourself every single day after that, because it's, for one, it's new. Two, it's like you have to get used to this. And it's like
Yeah.
you have this fight with yourself, like I know this makes me uncomfortable, but a part of me wants to do this. So I need to figure out a way to separate the two, to be able
Yeah.
to enjoy this in order to conquer what's, my, I guess you want to say, ailments, or trauma, as as we say. So
Yeah, fear, really, right? It's fear,
mhm,
I think, at the end of the day. It's like, what are all the guises, what are all the masks that fear plays in my life? And if I can
mhm,
recognize my fear of losing, or my fear of pain, or my fear of discomfort in jujitsu, I can do it outside too. And if I can keep moving in jujitsu, I can do it outside too.
yeah. And that's my motto, man. It's like I wake up, I train hard, I beat up my body every day. And as you like, as a brown belt, I've been doing this for for a little while. And it's like, man, if I'm willing to put my body through all that, man, there's nothing else. I mean, there's nothing I can't do.
Totally, man. Totally.
Yes,
Totally.
like even as an adult, it's still like that pat on the back, that encouragement, like, you got this. Jiu-jitsu knows you got this. I'm like, I know, I got it. I got it.
Yeah. Yeah. And did it give you just like, yeah, like more confidence walking around in just like the grocery store or whatever, right? Like
Yeah.
you see, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think jujitsu sort of stands out too because we can actually, jujitsu gives us the power to, obviously we could kill somebody, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it shows you how vulnerable people you are, like just people walking around. But with jujitsu, we're not striking people. We're not doing irreparable harm. We're controlled, and we have the capacity to incapacitate them without hurting them. And to
Mm-hmm.
me, that's real power. Like to be
Yeah.
able to look at your enemy, your opponent, your enemy, and to have the power not to hurt them even though you could, right? That, to me, that's like the ultimate symbol of what jujitsu is like, it makes you a better person. It just makes you a better person.
Yeah,
It makes
it
you
it's
full
it
of power.
all around just makes you a better person. Like, yeah, like you said, like I think I moved and my mic came loose.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um
You're back.
yeah, what was that? Was Oh yeah, so like before training, like I was really like very cautious of everybody. Everywhere I go, like, just I have real bad social anxiety. I can't
Yeah.
stand large crowds. Like, to this day it still bothers me, but since I've been training, it just makes everything so much like, yeah, I can kill everybody in this room. you know,
Yeah,
you know,
right. Yeah, yeah. I got nothing to worry about. Yeah.
nothing to
Just
worry
one
about.
on one with no weapons, guys.
I know, right? It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Just,
Just making
as long as
jokes
they
like,
play by the jujitsu rules, we're good.
I know, right? As long as we play by jujitsu rules, we are right. We are
Totally.
right. Cause I got like a belt for my pants, but it looks like my jujitsu belt. And I've been places, and it's like they'll say, like, no weapons. And I'm like, let me take this off. Like, I can't go in. They say no weapons.
I'm
So,
gonna have to leave my hands outside. I'm sorry.
right, I gotta leave my hands outside, and they
Totally.
say no
Totally.
weapons.
You just can't go in, man. You're just
Man,
not allowed in that
I'm just not
room.
allowed, man. They say no weapons, so I can't go in. I see you guys later, man. Just tell me how
Yeah,
it
I guess I
goes.
gotta go home,
I just gotta go home.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
man. But yeah, man, because even I told this story a while ago. A few years, this is like last year or a year before. Me and my wife went out one day, and we went to a strip club. And one of the patrons there was drunk, and he just kept like bumping into us, like asking us all these questions. And we're trying to enjoy the show, but he's like making my wife nervous because he just keeps bumping into us, keep talking to us. So she's like, you know, all right, let's just. I'm like, you ready to go? She's like, yeah. I was like, okay, let's pay for our drinks and then we can leave. We get ready to leave. The guy is standing, like he's standing in the middle between like the door and the waitress and like someone that was standing right here. And he's like, "You guys are leaving?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh man, don't leave, man. I hope I didn't make you uncomfortable." So it's like he's trying to like hug me at this point. So I'm like, at this point, I'm like, dude, this is like the third time I
But he
told
doesn't want to
you.
make you feel uncomfortable.
Right. I'm like, I'm like, this is the third time I'm like, dude, don't touch me. So he's like, no, I don't mean anything by him. Now at this point, I can see my wife. She's like, oh, something's about to happen. And the guy standing at the bar turns around and he had on a Gracie Barra t-shirt, right? He looks at me, I look at him, I throw the hand sign up, and he turns back around and sit back at the bar. So we finally leave, and my wife was like, she's talking about what happened. I'm just sitting there like, oh, we were cool. Like we were good. And she's like, what makes you think that? I was like, well, for one, I know what I'm capable of, and two, the guy at the bar, he does jujitsu. And she like, what? I'm like, yeah, the guy at the bar he does jujitsu. It's like, how did you know? I'm like, for one, I'm like, you gotta pay attention to your surroundings, man. like we're everywhere.
Look at the ears. Look at the ears.
Right. He's a short, stocky guy, bald, cauliflower ears, thick. I'm like, yeah. I did the hand sign. He did the hand sign back, turned around, and went back to what he was doing.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, man. Too funny. Too funny, man. But yeah. So what's up?
Yeah.
Oh,
crazy world.
Crazy world, man. I've met some instant best friends out in this world. Just talking about jujitsu. And I love it, man. I love every minute of it. And I don't see myself want to do anything else but jujitsu, like as much as possible.
Yeah. I've been like in there's this journey of recovery that people like alcoholics go on, right? And it starts in, you always see it in AA, and they're like, I'm gonna make my life better. I'm gonna amend it, and undo some of the damage I've done. And I ended up getting sober when I was pretty young. I stopped drinking when I was about 25, and my life has been sort of about recovery since. And it's about it, and the sort of at the core of recovery is the idea of giving back, and that that I'm not like a self-sustaining unit in this planet. I'm a member of a community, and I have a responsibility to like take what I've been given just by virtue of who I am, my talents, my liabilities, and apply that to make the world a better place. So towards that, I've had foster kids and just really applied myself to this. And I've gone on like, I traveled all over the world looking for spiritual answers and looking for something real and something I could. And I'm telling you, it's jujitsu. It's like jujitsu is this thing that like it's like it changes people in ways that nothing else can. And so when I think of like, well, what is my service to humanity? How do I? It's through jujitsu, right?
It's through
like giving
jujitsu.
the love of jujitsu to people, man. And I can't. And I was given it. And I hope to be able to like give it to others and see in them what I've seen for myself through the community, and applying the lessons on and off the mats, and seeing people grow and develop their skills and their confidence, and just really become people that they didn't know they could before jiu-jitsu. It's amazing. We're a part of an amazing thing. It's like, man, I love what you're doing. I love growing jiu-jitsu. It's amazing.
Likewise, man. I can't speak about jiu-jitsu enough. Like it's a 24/7 365 type thing for me.
Right on.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
The I guess you want to say this became the Talk Your Jits podcast question. So I'm just making sure that I'll ask every every member that comes on. Your top 3 people who you would like to roll with.
Oh, damn, right? I'd like to round with Donald Trump. Is that allowed? Oh.
Sure.
I know it's not this in the spirit of the question, but it'd be good. Dude, I honestly, true answer. You want the truth? I really want to roll with Joe Rogan, man. I want to,
Yeah.
I want to roll with Joe Rogan. I want to, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I feel
for
like we'd be a
sure.
good matchup, honestly. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I've seen him throw punch kicks, but
You
I've
know,
never seen him do jujitsu.
there's footage, but you never get to see him like actually doing rolls. Yeah, but I've heard he's a total monster. Like I've heard he's a beast. So
I've
so
right,
I
I've
would
heard
really
the
like to.
stories, but I would love to
Yeah,
see him
yeah,
actually get down on the mats, man. All right, so we
yeah,
got
yeah.
Trump, we got Joe Rogan, and who else?
Um, who is my real jujitsu hero right now? Who would it be? Man, you know what? It'd have to be Hodger. I'd like if I could, just roll with Hodger for an afternoon, that would be like pure joy, man. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm telling you,
yeah.
man. I'm telling you. Any of those like high level, high class people, man, I'll take a 3-minute roll. Even though you're probably gonna kill me the whole 3 minutes, but be the best 3 minutes in the world, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's one of the great things about our sport too, is like these people that are just world
Uh-oh. I think we lost him.
class
Oh,
athletes. We have access to them through seminars. Yeah, there we are. Now we're back.
yep. I'm gonna say we kind of cut out a little bit now. What you were
So
saying?
yeah. Oh, I was just saying it's a realistic thing to be able to meet our heroes in this sport, right? And to be able to, um, actually train with the people who directly influence our game. Like Mike Fowler. I don't know if you're familiar with Mike Fowler, but um, he's one of my favorite. He has fantastic jujitsu. I love his jujitsu so much. Got to take a seminar with him. Amazing guy too, just hilarious. And it was like a highlight for me is rolling with him and training with him, doing a seminar with him. Um, he's got wicked moves too. The unstoppable sweep, true story.
I'm at to check that out, man. Gotta check that out. But yeah, do you if you got any questions for me, man, by all means. If you got anything coming up personally for your school, definitely want you to shout them guys out too. And anything else, man, the floor is all yours.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I said everything. I mean, I just, I love this, what you're doing here. I love like anything that just grows our sport, man. Like, I think jujitsu, if like in the Star Trek universe and this like utopia of the future, I think jujitsu is like the international sport, man. It's like there's something so pure about it, and I don't think enough can't be said about it. So the more people that are turned on to this, the more people that we can introduce to this thing, um, it changes lives. It's changing the world.
For
Jiu-jitsu for
sure.
everybody is a thing, man. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man, I definitely appreciate you coming on and sharing your story with us, man. And with everything you're doing, helping the people that you help, spreading awareness of how jujitsu has helped you and everybody else, man. I and my camera just died.
Oh,
But
happens.
it happens. It's all good. But yeah, so that's the end of today's episode. I would like to thank my guest Caleb one more time for coming on the show and blessing us with his tales and experiences with jiu-jitsu. Please go and follow our Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube page to stay up to date on all future episodes. This has been Talk Your Jits podcast. Keep rolling, keep grinding, and remember, long live jiu-jitsu. Have a great day.
Thanks, Lamar. Take care.
Yeah. Yep. And we're done.